Welcome back to Chris and Retro. Had an interesting morning this morning that I want to share with you some stuff I thought it'd be useful. Um, been going through it today for whatever reason. It's been focused on a lot of this, but I've been going through a period of my life where this whole notion of life being short has been highlighted probably more than normal, and today definitely fell in line with that. Um, my son has his senior ball tonight, and my youngest son, and so we're going to get his haircut today at a barber that we go to, Millsies. And I was walking down through our city, and I saw a friend of mine. You've talked about him on the show here, Raf has been one of the more loyal people in my life, and I would definitely say as part of my inner circle. The last time I was incarcerated, he was my employment the day I got out. He was the first hug I received. Then he could see that my life was coming back together and was massively supportive to ensure that I had a place that he's not one of these touchy feely guys that can make you, the next story I'm going to share may kind of counter that comment, but he's not really somebody that you would go to about feelings necessarily. He's just a real hardworking person and tremendously loyal. And so I saw him this morning and I just was checking how he was doing. And he had told me that a man that we both know had passed away last night that was important to him. Now, this person had been, Raf started his businesses here on $2,500 and sweat equity. I mean, that was really, he just built it from him and that money. And he started it ultimately turned into two restaurants, a CBD factory, and a farmer's market, all from hard work. And he's not really a credit guy, so it was always just working hard on cash and getting it done. But along the way, we do get support. And this gentleman that helped him in a big transition moment was from that small restaurant that started at $2,500 to a larger facility that could then produce the volume that turned into everything he's doing now. The man's name was Ralph Galassi, and Ralph was really supportive of Ralph all the way through, and really as a business partner, but also as a friend. He passed last evening, I believe, from cancer, and Raf was by his side saying, I asked him how was that? And he said his labor was breathing and stuff like that. And then mentioned that he was rubbing him. But so, in knowing Raf and our relationship, I just said, I just want to go on record is that if you're by my side in my last breath, I don't want you touching me at all. And he said that he was going to rub my feet and give me a sponge bath. So I asked him to never show up if there's even a thought that I might pass. And so if anybody sees a man named Raphael come in the room, if you're around me and it's my last moments, please ask him to leave. So, but on a serious note, I mean, we were joking about that a little bit. But that's how he handles, sadness and stress is usually a little bit of sarcasm. And, but it really reminded me, of, I think back over the last decade, and you really wouldn't, that was part of the component of what Ralph was this building owner and all this other stuff. And we kind of knew it just, when you see things that norm get disrupted by people passing, it certainly does kind of make you think, you pause. Well, I left and went and met my son at the barber. I grabbed some cash and went over to the barber and to get his haircut, and got that done. And we're walking back down Main Street, and our city has 2 lanes going north and 2 lanes going south, and it's a really nice small little city, but the crosswalks are a little sketchy, and that people are getting hit all the time. And so we look, and the first car stops, and we go to take the second step to go across the other crosswalk, and a car flies by, like literally at least 10 miles an hour in this 30-mile-an-hour zone across it, with busy people on both sides of the sidewalk this time of year, being a great day here in Western New York. And we almost got run over by this car. And I grabbed my son, yanked him back because it was really that close. They didn't stop for crosswalk, nothing. They just blew past, not even paying attention. So my first response, which is not the wisest, was to run up the median of this car and try to catch them. Well, they took off because I can't, at 51 years old, catch cars, I guess. So I tried to calm down, went back and met my son. I ran about 2 blocks after these people, and went back down and met up with my son. And, he was joking with me and giving me a little grief, and then we walked home. I get home, and then I'm having a moment with my family, and my stepdaughter asks, what this is and what this means. And this is a cross that I've had many, many years. In fact, the last time I was riding a motorcycle, this was on me. It was also on me when I was sleeping in a cemetery on my backpack with nothing. So I've had this, has got some meaning to me. And I was explaining, she was asking what the specific cross meant, and I explained what that was all about. And, was having this moment with her where I was actually being more beneficial, I think, in her life in that moment than I was chasing anybody up Main Street. So we're having this conversation, and then and something else came across and talked about, how life is short, and these moments that we live in and things like that. So all that came to, I got to make a video about this to have us to challenge maybe you and your thinking today too. Life is short. There's literally no scenario that had me thinking about would I get run over or anything happen to me after I had seen Raph and talked about the news of his friend's death. There's no scenario that I actually at all thought about today would being my day to go. But that's exactly where the life is short cliche comes from, is the fact that it just shocks you sometimes at what it does to you. Months earlier, my oldest boy had been in the 2 blocks down walking to his job and got run over in those exact same crosswalks and did get hit. He was fortunate to come out with a couple stitches and stuff, but people still, another person was run over by a drunk driver who's a veteran in a wheelchair and dragged to his death. So I mean, there's stuff that happens on the street, and but we still, even knowing that there's some risk around it, we don't see that really living locally. So what does that do? And I mean, what does this even mean for us? And do we just sit in a shell somewhere? No, actually, one of the challenges I have is I look back on my life. I have a lot of struggle with looking at the time I wasted, all the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. Where was that money that where was that time? Man, I really screwed that up with my kids. This type of stuff. And then I waste more time because I'm just sitting there worried about the time I wasted, and it's really just freaking pointless. It's really pointless. Or getting angry and running up a median at somebody. When I was actually having a nice walk with my son after he got his haircut. I'm not sure what it's done for me for behavior, but for today, I can tell you that I'm thinking more about how I live for these moments. What am I doing today in these moments that are available to me? Recognizing life absolutely is short. And those around you, those that you love, and they're part of your, as my mom calls, the landscape of your life, they may not be here tomorrow. So you're taking advantage of every opportunity to invest and enjoy the time that you have with the people that matter to you. This was kind of a crazy situation today. I learned a lot. One thing I learned is that, Raph is not allowed anywhere near me on my deathbed because of his creepy profession. And but it also made me pause for a minute and recognize I'm taking way too much for granted again, Chris. You're thinking way beyond too many moments, Chris. There's, how about at what point does all the things that are going to happen for you and these aspirational goals in the future, when are they going to not be as important as what am I doing right now in this moment with those I love? That's the most important thing. What am I doing right now in this moment with those I love? And right now, what I'm trying to do is invest in you on this YouTube channel for 15 minutes here. And then I'm going to go spend the rest of the day with my family. Hope this was helpful for you today. It was certainly something I was like, man, all these things kind of came together for one kind of theme today, but it has been something that's kind of burning on my mind over the last several weeks. And today it just kind of collectively came through in a near miss, hit and run. Who knew? I'm glad it was a near miss because I really didn't feel like getting hit by a car today. Anyway, guys, consider it for your own life. Make sure today you make the most of it. Be mindful in the moments that you have available to you. And between now and the next time we talk, please stay out of trouble.